I'm Zoe Delahunty-Light.
And I'm Aoife Wilson. Please excuse how croaky my voice sounds right now. I am doing my best.
And we've been lucky enough to get hands-on with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and let's face it, you want to get into the meat of this video, and I would be delighted to indulge you.
But just a quick word first, the embargo for Tears of the Kingdom is super strict, so there are a few things that we can't talk about or that we have to be vague about. And having said that, here are 10 new details about Tears of the Kingdom that we found out.
We had 2 sessions with Tears of the Kingdom. One was set on the Great Sky Island, and some of the hints dropped suggests that this is the opening area to the game, similar to the Great Plateau in Breath of the Wild. During this time, we did a very small amount of exploring, like going into a cave and fusing some items. We will get onto that soon, don't you worry. Battling some constructs and helping a little Korok find his friend. Session 2 was in a small section of Hyrule and a couple of Sky Islands. We began with getting into a fort, killing the monsters inside, and using a special new means to access the sky. We actually can't say any more about that, so moving swiftly on. However, I will just say that we got in trouble for panning the camera around Link to get a look at Hyrule. Oops. We landed in a pool of water on a sky island, then travelled across the islands using our glider and a great box thing which we stuck fans on to make a kind of drone-type vehicle. We then returned to the overworld of Hyrule to try building a car, which we also got in trouble for doing so at first, but we unfortunately ran out of time before we could finish our masterpiece.
New abilities in Tears of the Kingdom include Fuse, Ultrahand, Rewind, Ascend, and a streamlined building ability that we're only allowed to talk about vaguely. Sorry about that. We were allowed to use this ability, but only briefly. We asked whether any abilities from Breath of the Wild would return, but Nintendo refused to tell us anything. Rewind is a useful ability. However, we didn't try it out too much as fusing is so fun to do that it thoroughly stole the limelight for us. Which is why the next point is exclusively dedicated to it. Ascend is exactly what they've shown in the trailers. However, we were surprised to find that Ultrahand can be used to pick up chests, like the Magnesis ability in Breath of the Wild.
Fusing is absolutely hands down fantastic. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can fuse items together, and the amount of variety is almost limitless. Fusing materials to weapons and shields increased their durability. We spent at least 10 minutes fusing one of every item we had in our inventory to arrows just to see what they could do. So, we can exclusively reveal that while apple arrows do deal damage, they have no extra effect other than a funny noise. Shame. You can basically fuse anything you can find to a weapon, shield, or object, like a log if you're building a vehicle. This includes stuff like wagon wheels, which can be found on broken wagons littering Hyrule. Fusing gemstones, like topaz, to a sword basically turns your blade into a magic wand, shooting out different types of electricity. We didn't get a chance to try fusing other gems, but I'm assuming they also have similar effects. Choo-choo jellies also have effects based on their colour when they're fused to an arrow. So white equals ice, red equals fire, etc, etc. Fusing explosive barrels to weapons and then hitting enemies with them will cause the enemies and you to explode and die. This has been tested. R.I.P. Link. Fusing a flamethrower to a shield means that when you hold a shield out in front of you, it will shoot flames. Sick. You can also fuse the remains of monsters, like bones and such, to weapons, which makes my inner necromancer positively glow with joy. Some mini-boss monsters also drop pieces of weapons, which are fusible too, because we made a sick axe after defeating a big monster, but to be honest, we did this quickly by accident, so aren't able to confirm if we fused 2 weapons together or if we used monster remains. Our time with Tears of the Kingdom was very limited, in case you haven't gathered that by now. Ha!
There are tons of Zonai devices to play around with. Flamethrowers, fans, batteries, these controllers for vehicles, rockets and balloons. Our personal favourites are the rockets, which can be fused to weapons and shields and, depending on how they've been fused, can be used to shoot them up into the air. And flamethrowers for obvious reasons. When playing with the Zonai devices, you will need to ensure that the devices are balanced and point opposite to the directions that you want to go in, or else you will end up going in the wrong direction. You're able to control the angle, direction and position of what you're fusing. This can be a bit difficult to get a handle on at first, and to be honest, is rather time consuming if you're building something big, but it doesn't take too long to get used to. In terms of how you find Zonai devices, some, like rockets or fans, can be found just lying about in the Sky Islands. They may appear on the ground and can also be found in chests. If they don't wet your whistle though, a great way to get more Zonai devices is to use Zonai charges on things which are very clearly gacha machines to receive capsules containing extra Zonai devices. The maximum you can give is 5 Zonai devices at a time. We made a wing glider and stuck a flamethrower on the front so that when we flew through the sky, it shot out flames. Not only does this mean you make one hell of an entrance when you land on monsters, but you can also take some of them out with the Skyfire. It is very efficient, and dare we say so, it looks pretty great too.
We experienced a new way to access the sky, but can't reveal any more than that. However, we can tell you about the Sky Islands. The ones we explored were spread out across Hyrule Field, and we're not sure if there will be others in different parts of the map, but wouldn't be surprised if there were. A handful of islands have pools of water for you to land in after going up into the sky to make landing quicker, or help you if your stamina's running out. The islands are designed so you can go from one to the other, either by solving a puzzle or by creating some sort of device which will allow you to travel between them, like a glider or a hot air balloon. Not all of the islands are at the same height, so you can easily fly above some semi-hidden ones without really realising it. Some islands are also notably bigger than others, while others exist simply to house a puzzle. There are cave networks on the Sky Islands, which is some advanced geology, and places where the temperature drops, requiring you to wear warm clothing just like in Breath of the Wild. This possibly hints that the higher you go, the more warm clothing you will need to wear. Like the overworld, parts of the Sky Islands are clearly meant to be returned to after you've gathered more powerful weapons and hearts. Someone found a mini-boss-like monster, and in the Q&A afterwards, Nintendo sort of admitted that it is a monster you can encounter early on, but ideally you should wait till you're more powerful to take it on.
There's a variety of new monsters in Tears of the Kingdom, but we can't talk about a lot of them due to the strict embargo, so this is a short section. The one thing we can say is the Bokoblins are now wearing stone armour, and Zonai constructs also have the power to fuse things to their weapons, just like you. So far, it's unclear whether any other monsters also have that ability. The blocky robots that we've seen in trailers are confirmed to be Zonai constructs. Mining robots you'll run into are friendly and you can talk to them. And we found one that, after being talked to, opened a little shop which sold Zonai resources. Interestingly, their dialogue does suggest that the Sky Islands are the ruins of some sort of sky city, almost similar to the one in Twilight Princess in places. However, it's unclear whether the Zonai are robots created by the Zonai or the Zonai themselves. Either way, they appear to be an advanced civilization, which makes us think that the ruins could either be existing out of their own time somehow, or have always been there but have been hidden. We weren't able to see if there's any evidence of them being parts of Hyrule which have risen up into the air, so put a pin in that theory for now.
Okay, so we have no idea if Zelda is playable, as we didn't even see her. Nothing about the storyline was revealed during our time with Tears of the Kingdom either. However, we do have some theories about what's going on. There might be some time-travelling shenanigans occurring, as one set of clothes Link wears heavily suggests they originate from a different era. One of the big reveals might be that Zelda is trapped in the past, and the princess and hero from ancient times mentioned in Breath of the Wild are actually Link and Zelda from these games, if that makes sense. Meaning that Tears of the Kingdom is actually, in its own strange way, a prequel mixed with some timey-wimey stuff.
A bunch of abilities from Breath of the Wild return in Tears of the Kingdom, so I'm going to rattle through them really quickly. Cooking is still in the game, and you can find portable stoves which will allow you to cook one meal anywhere. Weather is back too. We experienced a thunderstorm, and yes, it can still knock down trees and set stuff on fire. The overlays on the main screen, map, temperature, weather, etc., are basically exactly the same as in Breath of the Wild. You start off with a version of the travel medallion from the Breath of the Wild DLC straight away, which you can place anywhere. So if you, for instance, fall accidentally, you travel right back to the Sky Island you were on. It seems like you get this item pretty early on, but keeping to the theme of the preview event, Nintendo refused to confirm this detail. Sigh. Defeating a group of monsters to unlock a chest has returned, and of course, those adorable Koroks are back too. There are new ways to find Korok seeds though, such as helping a Korok reach its friend on the Sky Islands. Oh yeah, and you can fuse Koroks to minecarts, which is, we promise, much more wholesome than it sounds.
We can reveal that we've seen 2 maps so far. Overworld Hyrule, which is very similar to Breath of the Wild, and the Sky Islands. We have absolutely no idea if there are any underground segments, however, there is now a flower you can fuse to an arrow and shoot onto the ceiling or walls of a cavern to light it up. So there could be a sizable underground area to warrant that kind of arrow existing. Lastly, Overworld Hyrule does appear to have undergone a number of changes. We managed to do a quick camera pan before we were told to stop. Hey, better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Finally, 2 more tiny but nifty little details are the fact that Link can run around in his underwear, and chests have a new Zonai-like design. Well, there you go. Those are 10 new details about Tears of the Kingdom that you need to know. What do you think about the game so far? And please tell us what you think of all this gorgeous new footage. Drop a comment down below and share what part of the game you are most looking forward to.
If you've made it this far, thanks so much for watching, and make sure you subscribe to Eurogamer and like this video for more videos about Tears of the Kingdom, as we have a new video out almost every single day. And Aoife and myself will see you lovely lot next time for some more Tears of the Kingdom news.